January 29th, 2021. From El Cajon in San Diego, California, this is episode 225 of You Can Bet On That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet On That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting safely at his home is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, how you feeling? Doing okay?
Oh, doing okay. I just a bit stuffed up.
I know you've been, you had some back problems a while, and now you know this, so yeah.
Back was out. Now I'm just congested as all heck.
Oh, boy. Always something. Well, that's why we're a day late here. Just wanted to give Mike a chance to completely recover so he'd be 100% for the show.
Yeah. I'm never 100%, Mark. I've been 100% since I was like 36.
Hey, have we had any action at the casino lately? I guess you and I haven't been out there together in a while. I went with my son and just played some stadium gaming, but nothing really to speak of.
No, we've been laying low, trying to avoid getting sick.
Hey, my son and I went to that Mexican restaurant at Harrah's, Southern California. You've been there before, right?
Yeah, we've eaten there a few times, my wife and I.
Yeah, we really liked it. You know, we've gone to, they've got kind of a to-go area there that's made up like a taco truck, you know, like a food truck. And
right.
it's different. It's a different kitchen. It's not, you know, so yeah, we really liked it. Yeah, we'll probably have to head
that's
back.
The best place to eat. If you're going out there, by far, I think that's the best place to eat.
Okay, I'll back that up as well. I mean, based on only going there once, but compared to some of the other places we've been, yeah, it's just kind of by the pool area, a Mexican restaurant. It's called Rita's Cantina.
Yeah, we are in San Diego, Mark, so I think you can't go wrong with Mexican food.
Generally, if you go to a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant here in San Diego, you're going to get good food. I'm not going to say all the time. I can think of some exceptions. But in
I've
general,
had a few,
even at the casino.
In general, if you want good Mexican food, and if you want real authentic Mexican food, you can get that too.
Oh, for sure. There are plenty of places around here.
There's the Taco Bell food.
Yep.
There's the Mexican restaurant food.
Yeah.
And then there's the authentic food. And you can get all of those depending on, and in some cases, you can go to Taco Bell and get your kids a taco and then get real Mexican food right down the street.
Exactly. Yes, they're right by each other. So you don't have to go all the way down to Tijuana. You can actually just drive down the street. Don't tell me you're not getting the tacos from Taco Bell as well.
Well, you know what I'm getting lately is the new beef burrito they have for $1.
Yeah.
That is the best deal on the planet. I mean, it's pretty good size. And it's filling, so you can get 2 of those, and for $2, you're full.
Well, we talked about it on a previous episode. I get those boxes. You know, whatever the box is featured, why don't they change every month? It's so much food. It's $5.
It's so much food. It's a great deal. Now, I know we're tooting Taco Bell's horn here, and my daughters bring up the fact that like 3 or 4 years ago, I swore I'd never eat at Taco Bell again.
Oh, I wonder what brought that on.
I went to one that's kind of near our house. It's not the closest, second closest to our house. The service was just terrible, and the food was crummy, and I said, that's it. I'm not going back. But then, $1 burrito, you can't beat that.
No, you can't beat that. All right, well, this is a podcast about gambling, so let's move on past fast food and Mexican food and what have you. So we've talked about it on several episodes, but back in October, San Manuel Casino had this big mistake where people who were promised a certain amount in free play actually got 100 times that amount. In other words, if you were guaranteed $500, you were given $50,000 that showed up on the slots, and people tried to play through as much as they could before San Manuel caught on and put an end to it. Well, we got an email from listener Drew. He wanted to know what strategy we would have employed on the craps table if we had been the lucky recipient of the error. And so I'm just going to read what he said here. Let's pretend you had mistakenly been given $100,000 free play and needed to convert it to real money as quickly as possible before the casino corrected their error, only using a craps table. Given those circumstances, what specific betting strategy would you use to pocket as much money as possible before time ran out? Now, let's just start by saying that, this error that happened was basically just on machines, video poker and slot machines. If we were to go up to a craps table and we got 100 times what we were supposed to, let me have $100,000 worth of chips, it probably would have been shut down right there. So,
right.
we're going to...
that would be the whole bankroll of chips they have there, right?
Right. So we're going to have to really use our imagination here and pretend like nobody working at the table realized that maybe something was up, and we went up to the table with all this free play that we had to convert. So let's assume that, we can't just cash it in. We have to convert it into real chips. Any idea how you'd play, Dr. Mike?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things would depend on, so if they give you those fake chips, like they do at Harris Southern California for free play, and they give you denominations, so you get it at the cage, and they ask you, do you want 5s, 25s, or they have hundreds. So you'd probably take hundreds.
Right. Yeah. Or whatever the highest denomination they had. If we're talking $100,000, right?
Right. Maybe they'd have 500. I very seriously
No, in
doubt
free
that.
play, they might not even have hundreds. But
they might not even have enough for hundreds. They might have a few hundreds.
I'll tell you what, we have to make a lot of assumptions here to answer this question. So let's just assume that they had any denomination that we wanted and that nobody blinked an eye when we, went to the table. So how would you
There's
play?
So many ifs, though.
I know. That's why it's hard to answer. But
right. Let's say they gave me $1,000 chips, right?
Yeah.
And I had 100,000, so I had $100,000 chips.
Okay, and figure that
table. Then we have to say the table lets me bet $1,000 in the field, which, like at Harris Rincon, the magic number is 300, right?
Yeah.
It's the max. I guess we're going to have to get $100 chips.
All right, look, stop trying to look at this realistically, okay? It never would have happened. The question is, how would you bet? It's very simple. Don't think about all the mechanics involved to get to this point.
How would you mechanics.
Bet? Well, okay, I'll tell you what I would do.
They won't let your free play go in any prop bets.
Oh, see, no, you're thinking too much. I don't want to hear any of these explanations as to how you can and cannot use free play. Let's just say we can bet it.
The last time I was there, some guy had like $500 in free play chips.
Yeah.
And he was obviously new to the casino, right? Probably from out of town. It was probably some incentive to get in there. And he was very disappointed to find he could only use them on the pass line or in the field, or he could place numbers with them.
Right.
And that was it. He wanted to bet hard ways, and he was very disappointed. So if we're going to just say you can use them anywhere.
Yeah. And
I want to run through them as quick as I can.
Right. Because you're assuming that somebody's going to catch on like they did at San Manuel, maybe 45 minutes, an hour into when it's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then I'm putting the max on every roll I can in the field.
Okay.
And I'm taking all the hard ways for the max.
Yeah.
And I'm probably betting a horn bet every roll, the maximum horn bet every roll, I guess. I wouldn't waste my time with going to placing a number or something like that.
What do you think of this? What if they let us do it? What if we made a pass and don't pass or come and don't come every roll? The same amount, right? So again, we're just concerned about converting it into money, right?
Yeah.
You're guaranteed to get something, again, unless a 12 comes up, but
right.
You're converting money. What do you think of that?
Well, if you and I were both sitting next to each other and we both had 100,000, one of us should play the pass, one should play the don't, and we should get, divide the money up at the end.
How about we just hop every single combination for the max every roll? Right?
Well, there you go. That's another way to go. Yeah.
Right.
Hope hard ways come up, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's not a bad way to go. I mean, there's a lot of fun things you could do because it's some fantasy world, but in reality, this is never happening.
All right.
On a craps table.
I'll tell you what, it's interesting because knowing our personalities, I would have thought I'd be the one that get hung up on all the what's realistic and what's not realistic about playing all this free play. But you're the one who really was concerned about, well, will they let us, bet the hard ways with it? Or is it only pass line and field?
Well, I'm trying to answer the question as realistically as I can.
I know.
I'm thinking, well, what will they let me do, right? I mean, it's not what I want to do. It's what will they let me do with free play, because free play is an odd thing. I mean, even in real life,
Yeah.
I get my $225 of free play. Well, the best way for me to use that, let's just talk about we're out there on a Friday night and they give me $225 in free play.
Yeah.
And if I'm forced to play it on the craps table, the best thing for me to do is to use it for fire bets.
I know you're absolutely right. That's best thing to do is fire.
That's my best chance of winning anything. I'll probably end up with zero. But it's probably the best chance.
Let's put it another, not necessarily the best chance of winning anything, but when you look at the math, in the long run, it's the best thing to do. Yes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And we can if some people might be hearing this and thinking, well, that can't be right. If you ever run into us, ask us what we meant by that, and we'll explain it, because I think it's a little too complicated to bring up on the show. But yeah, that's absolutely correct.
It gets a little involved.
Yeah.
But that's the correct thing to do with it. Yeah. The last time I was there and you weren't there, a couple came up to the table. And once again, they had quite a bit of free play. I had never seen them before, and their free play was in $25 chips.
Oh, okay. So
they were obviously out-of-towners who got some junket or some deal to come to that casino. And, they were given, $500 free play or something, right? And so they got it in $25 chips. And this was what I was talking about. They were disappointed to find out they couldn't just play regular craps.
Right.
Because they wouldn't let them make any hard way bets or, they couldn't do a horn or anything like that. Nothing in the middle. They could only put it on the pass line, the field, and make place bets on numbers. And then they were also disappointed to find out that when they did win a bet, like she put $25 chip on a 5, and a 5 came up, and then she got $35, but they kept her 25. And she's like, well, what about that? No, that we keep that now. It's just a one-time thing.
See, that's the whole other thing, that we're bringing reality into this theoretical question. Would that be the case at San Manuel, right? Are they chips that stay out there until they lose, or do they, come down after every decision?
Now, if they stay out there till they lose, that's a whole different thing.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'd be placing every number for the max, right?
Yep.
Hoping that they hit a couple times or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think our answers were relatively disappointing based on the potential for what we could have said. So,
well, you know what, though? It's a funny question, because it's like asking me, like, oh, if you win that $1 billion lottery that just happened, what are you going to do? I can sit there and tell you exactly how I'm going to, invest this money and what I'm going to do and everything, but it's a moot point, because my chances of winning that $1 billion, in all reality, there's zero.
Yeah. And
just some guy gets lucky and wins.
And what really happened at San Manuel, again, it was only machines. So you really only had two decisions to make. Do you want to play on a machine where you're betting the max every time? Or do you want to play in such a way that you're less likely to get a hand pay, so you can go through money quicker? So, I mean, that would be kind of the choice that you would have to make. But otherwise, it's just keep hitting the button on the slot machine, right? And see how much money you can run through it. So, yeah.
Yeah, the hand pay is what kills them, because then, somebody has to come around and everyone's got all that money, and then there's only so many people to make hand pays.
Right. Then that's what happened in the real situation.
Freaking out, like, what the hell's going on? And then the casino catches on and just deletes everything, right?
Yep. All right.
I wonder how long that took for some casino employee to freak out and say, delete it all, delete it.
Oh, I know. Somebody must have been just going crazy in the back, when they're slowly starting to figure out what's happening.
Right. And then they're probably thinking, now, how do we do this? What if somebody hasn't even played through their, let's say they were going to get 500. They haven't played through their 500 yet.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
If we delete everything, that's not fair to them.
Well, luckily, we weren't in charge. Luckily, it's one of those things where something got screwed up and it wasn't my fault. So I'm happy about that.
I do like to fantasize a lot about things like this. My wife and I all the time say, well, what if we won a big lottery? What would we do? We talk about it and laugh and, think of things we'd do, who we'd give money to and who we'd help and this and that. And we both know that it'll never happen. But it's fun to fantasize about. Same thing with this craps. This question is basically saying, okay, what if I was given an unlimited amount of money? What would I do? I walk into a casino, they say, oh, congratulations. Your guest number, blah, blah, blah. Here's $1 million. You have to go play craps.
Okay.
All right, I guess. The limit's like $100 on every
That's right. Yeah, it happened in Colorado, right? So.
Right. You got 2 hours to go through it.
All right, let's move on. So we got a nice PayPal donation from listener Michael James in advance of a yearly Super Bowl trip to Las Vegas that he is going to go on this year. There was some doubt, but let me read to you what he sent us. This trip is a hard one to justify. I've been out of work for months, but my bankroll is largely intact because my wife has a good job and also because I haven't done a lot of gambling due to the virus issues. We've spent 10 months trying to stay safe, but I can't take it anymore. We normally take a Vegas poker trip each fall, which was canceled for 2020. At one point, a splinter group formed and we worked on a fantasy plan to watch the Super Bowl in Vegas. Over the course of a few weeks, all the discussion seemed to move from fantasy to, hey, we can do this. We all have credits on Southwest from canceled 2020 trips. Hotels are begging us to stay, so we've got our choice of comps all over the valley. It took some discussions with the wife, more about safety and less about being unemployed. But golly gee, I was given the go-ahead. For the past 10 years or so, I've gotten to Vegas and or Reno an average of 3 times per year. But this trip will be my first since last year's Super Bowl. I am apprehensively giddy, and I wanted to make sure that this donation got through to you as a thanks for the year of content that got me through to this. So thanks very much for the donation, Michael.
Yes,
and good
it's
luck.
our pleasure.
Yeah.
It's absolutely our pleasure to do this.
We do have a lot of fun. I understand being apprehensive still, right? I mean, gosh, especially for people who have to fly to Vegas. You know, we can drive, but even still, when the 2 trips we recently took, I was like, not so sure.
Yeah. I get so many offers. Just this morning, I look at my email and there's an offer for a $2,500 Macy's gift card.
Oh gosh. Wow. Nice.
For like the 3rd week in February or something, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I can go to Vegas. I could drive there, get $2,500 Macy's card, play a little bit and come home. And then my wife will, go buy stuff for the girls and things. And I'm thinking, oh, I just don't want to do it. It's just not, when I was there for the great gift wrap up, it was not as fun as a normal Vegas trip.
Well, even when I went with Sherry, we had a good time, but it was completely different. It really, it's not the same. And we're going to get to this next question coming up too. We can talk a little bit about it.
Wearing a mask, for one thing.
Yeah.
Then the table's not crowded, so it's never a big raucous event. At the craps table. I mean, the most you're going to have is 6 people. And even then, I didn't find that I was ever even on a full table when I was there. And then, food issues and this issue and that issue. And, you go up to your room, even you go into your room and you're thinking, oh God, I hope this was wiped down good. Should I wipe everything down? And it's just not the same.
It's not the same, but I imagine Michael's going to be having a good time because he'll be there with his friends, and it's the Super Bowl. They're going to watch the Super Bowl. So, depending on where they watch it, I don't know where they'll be actually watching it, if they're going to one of the parties or something. That'll still be fun.
They'll be 6 feet apart. Everyone will have a megaphone thing. Hey, did you see that boy?
What?
I don't know what that's going to be like, because usually, when we've been to events in Vegas, there are big crowds.
Sure.
And you're wall to wall next to somebody, shoulder to shoulder, and you're high-fiving some guy you don't even know because, they just got a first down or something. So it's going to be different with COVID, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but he'll still have fun because, he hasn't been in a year.
Oh, yeah. And we had fun when we went to Vegas. It's just not the same.
And I don't know, I know this is off gambling topic, but to be honest, I think we're still in for quite a long haul.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's a good segue. Let's move on to this next question. We can talk about this a little bit more. We got an email from Mike. He said, do you get any sense from your trips to the casinos as to when things might return to looking normal? And by that, I mean mainly no more 6-person limits at the craps table, no plexiglass, all restaurants open, no masks required to walk through and get into the casino in the first place. I may just be one guy on this, but somehow I bet I speak for a lot of others in that I'd hate to book a Vegas trip and spend that kind of money if it has to be under less than normal circumstances, which obviously would limit the fun. So that kind of got back to what we're talking about. Yeah, if you go to Vegas right now, it's not going to be the same. When do we think it's going to get back to normal? You're thinking we're still in for a long haul. I think I agree.
I think we are. I hate to say this, but I think it was yesterday, President Biden announced that they've got like 200 million more doses or something, which is good for 100 million people, but it won't be here till summer. Yeah. Well, we're not at the beginning of February yet. What does he consider summer? June, July?
Yeah, maybe the end of May, yeah.
That's a long ways away still. And then you still got to get the people vaccinated and stuff. Did you notice when you were out last weekend with your son at Harrah's Ring-Con that about every 4 or 5 minutes, there's an announcement over the loud PA that says that you must wear masks at all time, only exceptions if you're actively eating or drinking?
I have heard that notice. I've heard it so many times, I probably don't even really notice it anymore. But I have heard
I noticed
it
was about like every 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
It's a recorded thing, obviously.
Yes.
But when they go ahead and make something like that and put it out, you get the sense that, okay, we're stuck with this for a while.
Yeah.
This isn't like, they went to that effort. They're not thinking, well, next month it'll be back to normal.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a while. And it's unfortunate because it isn't quite as much fun. And, it's a little harder.
Yeah. So, Mike, to answer your question, we think it's going to be a while before it'll be back to normal. So either, wait. And what do we mean by that? A year, maybe. Or if you're really itching to go, just keep in mind, it's not going to be the same. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we said this before, and this is my feeling. It depends on what you're going to Vegas for.
Right.
So you and I, we go to Vegas to gamble. And that's why our Vegas trips over the last, say, 20 years have become less and less, because we can do that same gambling right here at home.
Yes.
So we don't have to fly somewhere, drive somewhere, anything. We can just go to the casino and gamble. And that satisfies our itch. But if you're going to Vegas for other things, let's say you're going because, you like shows or you like the restaurants, or it could be something as simple as you just like to get out of town to feel better about your normal routine. I mean, sometimes it's nice to just go somewhere.
Sure.
It's not going to be the same experience.
No, it won't. No.
And until things go back to normal, which may be a while, it's not going to be as much fun. Now, for us, it could be the same experience. We just go sit on a craps table.
Yeah,
maybe it's not as loud or whatever.
Well, you kind of alluded to it before, right? It's not as crowded. There's not as big a hoopla at the table because there are only 6 maximum. There's less excitement. I mean, we still enjoy the game. There's no question. But there is less overall excitement.
Right. It's just not as much fun.
Yeah.
And, for us, there's no other draw to get us to Vegas. There's no, even the Super Bowl's not a draw. Like we've talked about that before, because I like to watch the game, so I like to be in front of my TV. I don't even like to go to my cousin's house because he has a bunch of people over there and they all talk. And I'm like, listening to the game, right? I'm trying to...
Yeah. The one thing that we do like about going to Vegas or Atlantic City, this kind of thing, is that we can move from casino to casino. When we're here, if we wanted to go from one casino to another, we'd have to get into a car and drive. And, it would be at least a 10-minute drive, depending on what casino we were at. So that's one thing we do like about going to Vegas is, okay, we gamble here. If we want to move on, heck, if we're downtown, we walk across the street and we're at another table.
Right. That's the greatest thing about
Vegas. That's the big draw for us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason to go to Vegas versus Laughlin for us, right? The casinos are closer.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you're talking about downtown, for sure. I mean, strip casinos, we've talked about that before too. Sometimes when you just want to walk next door to a casino on the strip, it's a good 15, 20-minute walk, right? So,
well, especially if it's across the street. That walk from Caesar's Palace to Harrah's, I hate it.
They're right across the street from each other.
I know, but I absolutely hate that walk. It just seems like it takes forever.
But you're right, Laughlin, that is a bit of a walk between the casinos. It's, nothing can beat downtown Las Vegas. How about that?
Yeah, no. You know what they should have done?
What?
On the strip, they should have put casinos on one side of the street, casinos on the other side of the street, but the street is really not a street. It's just a walkway for people to walk. And it's about like maybe 10 yards.
Hey.
Okay. And then all the traffic is behind the casinos.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
All the traffic is behind the casinos.
There has been talk about closing down Las Vegas Boulevard and just making it a pedestrian street. I don't think that's going to happen because they've invested all this money in the overpasses, and the escalators and everything.
Right. And
there's still a lot of interest. Yeah. Right. Driving down the strip, but they've talked about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
well, they couldn't have anticipated it. Look at pictures of the strip from, say, 40 years ago. They had no idea it was going to be like it is now.
Right. Speaking of, there was a contestant on Jeopardy a few weeks ago. There was the part where they interview the contestants, that little quick, brief interview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the one contestant said that his favorite thing was craps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it was funny because he said, unfortunately, I'm good at making people a lot of money, but not much for myself.
Uh-huh.
And he told this story about where he rolled all these hard ways and people were making tons of money. He didn't have any hard ways bet. At the end of the roll, or as the roll progressed, I should say, they gave him some hard ways. They made some bets for him, which won. And then the dealer was paying him money. He said, I don't have a hard way. And he said, oh, these guys bet for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he was all excited about that. So then Ken Jennings, who is now hosting temporarily Jeopardy, he said something like, so you're playing a game where, you're not making a bunch of money. You're just doing it for fun. And the guy said, exactly. He said, I don't really play to make money. I just try and make my money last and have fun.
Hey, look at that.
I thought that was pretty interesting. And he just, he really loved it. I was kind of interested too that Ken Jennings picked up on the fact that he wasn't like throwing all of his money out there. He was just biding his time.
Yeah, right. So Ken Jennings thinking, okay, you're not deluded into thinking that you're actually going to make money at this game. Money. Number one,
you're just trying to have fun.
And number two, hours. It doesn't sound like you're a degenerate gambler. You're just having some fun. So okay,
right? Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Like we replayed it. My wife even put it on the recorder so we can go back and look at it.
Nice. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to some voicemails. First up is Michael.
Hey, what's up, Mark and Dr. Mike? It's Michael from Atlanta. Wanted to give a trip report that kind of referenced Jason's call from the last episode. I think he was asking about taking money down once he had it built up on the table, and the situation I kind of had last week. So me and my buddy go up to WinStar when I'm in Dallas and Oklahoma, the awful anti-bet. He's been talking about the new electronic craps table because that place is also known for really bad dealers. We just never have a good time with the dealers at the craps table. And he's like, this electronic table, I guess it's roll to win, where you can place your bets on the kiosk, but they're still real dice. He's like, you got to check it out. Well, since we're going to play golf, you have to have your player's card to get a discount on the round. So I was like, I'll hop into the casino, grab my player's card before I go out and catch our tee time. And I was about an hour ahead of him. I was like, well, I'm going to go check out this table. I'll throw $20 in, which is a joke when I'm normally getting on a craps table. But I was like, just to check it out. Well, they have a running tally of how many rolls this year is on. He was on like roll 12. I threw a 20 in, placed my 6 and 8. Really wasn't making anything. He kept hitting numbers. I was like, man, I got to get some more money. And I just dropped another 20 in real quick and made a $25 buy bet on the 4. And sure enough, the next 3 of 4 rolls were 4s. So, I double my bet every time, added up to $200. At this point, also had my 6 and 8 built up to $60 each, starting with just, I think, 6. When I made the buy bet, he was on roll 32. By 42, I looked down and had like 500 on the table with a little bit in my rack. And I was like, well, I have a tee time to make. Normally would never walk away from a table, but at this point, I think this is one of those opportunities. So I did take my money and ran, which definitely hurt my heart a little bit, but I feel like at that moment it was the right decision. After we played golf, we came back later that night, and I actually asked the dealer, I was like, hey, do you know about that long roll this morning, how long it went? He said it went to upper 50s, and I had left it roll 44, I believe. So, yeah, there was about probably 10 to 12 rolls that I missed out on. Never know if it was actually going to hit my 4 again, which was at $200 at that point. But, that's how it goes. Craps probably got away with it there. You guys have a good day, good week. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, good reasons to walk away from the table. You got a tee time, you got a plane to catch, you got reservations. There are times when maybe you have to do it, and maybe it's a good idea. Sounded like, maybe if he'd stayed, he would have gotten 10 or 12 more rolls, but who knows? Anything can happen. The fact that he left may have resulted in there being more rolls. Maybe if he'd stayed, the timing would have all been different. There would have been a 7 out right away. So,
what if he had come back, asked the dealer, and the dealer said, "Oh my God, that guy rolled for 2.5 hours, and I don't know. It must have been around 300 rolls. What would he?
Oh, well.
What would Michael have thought then?
Tomorrow's another day. That's what he would have thought. You know what I do like about this story, though? How many times have we been on a table where, let's say you've got some bets out there on certain numbers, and your numbers are not coming up, but everybody else's numbers are. Let's say you just have the 6 and 8 and a point, and the guy just keeps rolling 5s and 9s, and you're not getting paid, right? You're thinking, well, should I bet on a 5 or a 9 now? Oh, maybe I shouldn't. It really doesn't matter, right? It's not like a 5 or 9 or any less or more likely to come up, right? It's all still random. But you think, should I put more out there? Should I put more out there? And here's a case where Michael said, I got to get more out there. Bet on the 4, and it worked for him. You know, it wasn't the immediate 7 out that we're all horrified, when oh my gosh, why did I make that bet?
Right.
I caused it to happen by putting more money on there. I should have just, stayed with the bets that I had. But I love this story because he put more money out there and he had a big win.
Now, that never happens to me, right?
Oh, I know it never happens to you. Oh, yeah.
I come back. I go to the bathroom. I come back. The guy's made a point in 4 or 5 numbers. I cover all the numbers, and it's the immediate 7 out. That's always the case, Mark. Can you argue with that?
No, I'm just thinking about the last time we were out there, Mike, and you were having such bad luck, and you were trying to mix up, your style, and so you decided to make some come bets. So you made a pass line bet. The point was like 10. You placed the 6 and 8. You made 2 come bets. One went up to a 5. One went up to a 9, and then 7 out. It was the worst possible outcome. You didn't get any money on your place bets. The come bets moved up.
I put more money out there than I would have if I just placed them, right? I would have placed them for 50 each.
Yeah.
Instead, I had like $50 come bets with 200 odds.
I'm glad we can laugh about it now, although it seems like I'm the only one laughing. So I hope you don't mind that I'm laughing at your misfortune.
Deep down somewhere in there, I'm laughing that it's buried under layers of like fire. Indigestion.
Yeah.
It's buried under layers of indigestion.
All right. Let's hear from Scott. He's got some information about gambling in Florida.
Hi, guys. This is Scott from West Palm Beach, Florida. I love the podcast. I wanted to give a little trip report on South Florida gambling, in particular the Hard Rock in Hollywood, which I've been to a couple times in the last few weeks. The Seminole Indian tribe pretty much has a monopoly on gambling in Florida, except for some poker rooms at the dog tracks or highlight arenas. And in fact, dog racing was just made illegal in Florida starting January 1st. But the poker rooms and off-track betting still remain at those venues. The Hard Rock in Hollywood is just north of Miami, and they completed a huge rebuild back in 2019, and now is a lavish Las Vegas-style hotel and casino. They also built a guitar-shaped hotel, which is very unique. They now have only 2 entry points and have a very unobtrusive temperature check as you walk in. The table games allow 4 to a table. Poker is 7 per table with glass partitions, and every other slot machine is turned off. The casino was very crowded. This was the weekend of the national championship game in Miami, and I saw a lot of Ohio State and Alabama gear. But I also went the next weekend, and it was equally as crowded. They offer a lot of promotions to get people in the casino. This one was free luggage. I've been there where they give out vacuums or blenders or store gift cards, things like that. Get you in the casino and try to take your money. The one downside with the Hard Rock is they don't have craps or roulette, which is a big disappointment. The only place you can get craps or roulette in Florida is on the casino ships, which go out a few miles offshore into international waters and take 4 or 5 hour trips. They allow all the games, including craps and roulette. But those are closed due to the pandemic, and it's hard to say whether they'll come back at all. At the Hard Rock, they do have a bubble craps machine with 12 seats, as well as an 8-seat roulette machine. I know you guys love a good gambling story, so I have one with a great ending. I sat down at the Baccarat table in the high limit section after having lost at another table, not realizing the table was reserved. When the dealer informed me that the table was reserved, I started to get up, and the guy playing at the table said, "Let him stay. He looks like a nice guy. Just don't bet against me." They were also comping him 25-year Macallan Scotch, and he ordered me one. Anyway, he had about $25,000 in chips out of a $50,000 buy-in, and was betting anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 a bet. We went on a huge heater, and he finished the shoe $55,000 up. I stupidly kept my bets at around $100 or a little more per hand, but still went from $1,000 down to $2,000 up. So I can't be too disappointed with that. And he kept the McAllens coming throughout the session. He had over 100,000 in chips by the time he finished, including his initial buy-in, and requested security escort him to the cashier and out to the parking garage, which they did. So all in all, it was a fun trip down to the Hard Rock Hollywood. It's like a Las Vegas casino, just missing the sports book, the craps, and the roulette. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Scott, for all the information, and congratulations on the nice little baccarat hit.
You know, he brought up a good thing there. I was thinking when he's talking about the giveaways. So I wonder what is the worst giveaway anyone's ever got.
Well, we've talked about it. Wasn't it like that 6-pack of Pepsi we got?
Yeah, but that's not that bad a giveaway. I mean, that's something you can use, you know, a 6-pack. I think we've had worse giveaways. Mark.
All right, then how about that taco holder? Remember, it was like that little,
right.
It was like a ceramic to hold like 2 tacos. I don't know, to serve, to eat from?
Yeah, that's a crappy gift. And we've had a few that just fell apart. Like you used it once and it just fell
some of the
apart.
things are such bad quality that we get. Yeah, no question.
I mean, they were just like, what? This just fell apart. I used it once.
Yeah.
That we've had some crappy ones. Now, we've had some really good ones, I think.
Oh,
and, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I think the best one we ever got was an electric teapot.
Mm-hmm.
My wife still uses that, and I think we got that over 5-6 years ago.
Nice.
And that teapot, I mean, it is awesome. You know, it's one of those electric ones. You plug it in, you push the button, heats up the water. Oh, my God. It's so much better than, you know, a kettle on the stove.
I think the best we got was a big iron skillet. I don't know if you got this, but I mean, it's a solid, big iron heavy skillet. Iron skillet. And it's great for cooking. Yes.
Yeah, will last forever. Yeah, those are good. If you take care of them, if you do the maintenance on those iron skillets, they'll last forever.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of gifts I like. I like the ones where we use and they just go on and on and on.
All right. Well, one more call, but first a little background information. So we've been talking, even on this episode, about bubble craps. So those are basically the craps machines that you see in casinos. Typically, there are a bunch of monitors around some dice in a big bubble, and people make their bets directly on the monitors, and then the dice roll themselves, or maybe somebody pushes a button to make the dice go. But that's what we refer to as bubble craps. And there are several manufacturers that make these bubble craps machines, but the most popular version is called Shoot to Win from a company called Aruse Gaming. So a lot of times we'll talk about Shoot to Win, bubble craps. Sometimes we'll use those interchangeably, but it's basically the same kind of thing. You know, it's on the floor, it's all automated, and you make your bets on screens. So a little while ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, Aruse Gaming came up with this new thing called Roll to Win. And it's a full-length craps table, again, where you're all sitting around making your bets on monitors, but people get to still roll dice. And there's a dealer there who enters the dice rolls into the computer and it shows up. And so it's kind of a hybrid, you know, where you're still able to make bets on a monitor like the bubble craps, but you also get to roll dice. And there's a dealer who types it in. Well, Aruse Gaming has just recently come out with a new version of the Roll to Win craps table called Roll to Win Virtual Craps, where there's no dealer at all. And the rolling of the dice is all virtual. You know, the dice go rolling down the table, just animated, like these animated dice. And it ends up with a roll. So there's no dealer there who has to look at the roll and enter it into the computer. The casino doesn't have to pay for a dealer. So, you know, the casinos kind of like this idea.
So instead of Shoot to Win craps, where these 2 dice just pop up, the machine shoots them up, and wherever they land is the roll.
Right.
This is just 2 virtual dice rolling down the table.
Right.
On some kind of display, I assume.
Right. So it's computerized. Yeah, it's computerized randomization as opposed to these bubble craps machine where usually there are these oversized real dice in a bubble that move. No, this is all virtual, all electronic.
So the machine can actually control when there's going to be big rolls, and set. It can be set a certain way.
Well, no. I mean, people might think that's the case, but no, I'm sure it's all on the up and up. I'm sure the casino can't change anything. I'm sure that, it's all as pseudo-random as it can be that a computer can be. No, I don't think they'd be set that way. But again,
Okay.
you're going to get plenty of people who would disagree, right? And say, it's all determined. And people would not like playing this game for the reason that they think, maybe, something unsavory is going on. But
well, that would be my thought if I was there playing and, it was just like bad rolls after bad rolls and just occasionally a moderate roll.
Right.
I'd be thinking, well, this machine's set not to have good rolls.
That's what people are going to start thinking. So again, shoot to win, bubble craps, those are the machines on the floor. Roll to win, those are the relatively new tables where there are monitors around, but you get to roll real dice and there's a dealer there. And then this new machine, roll to win virtual craps, where it's just a virtual roll of the dice. Okay, the reason I wanted to go through all this, we're going to listen to Sonny's call coming up here, and he repeatedly says shoot to win when he's really talking about the roll to win tables. So I just want to make that clear. When he's saying shoot to win, but he's really talking about the roll to win tables. So let's take a listen.
Hey guys, just want to give you an update from Tampa, Florida. The Hard Rock Casino now has shoot to win craps. I go up there to play the bubble craps, which is the only game in town really over here for this Indian reservation. So I was excited to see the shoot to win craps, but unfortunately it's a beautiful looking table, but you can't shoot the dice, there's no dealer. It's automated dice. It's even worse than the bubble craps. I mean, bubble craps is I play because it's the only game in town. The shoot to win craps in Biloxi is great to play on. Real table with plexiglass, you shoot on plexiglass, and it's all digital. But the one in Tampa Hard Rock is it's digital dice. So you press the button and the dice roll digitally down the field, and it's almost like playing a slot machine. It's ridiculous. I don't know why people are playing this. What a beautiful table, but what a waste. Cannot play this game whatsoever. So back to the bubbles until they actually get ruling over here to get it live in Florida. But who knows when that'll happen. But bubble craps was down 200, but last minute hit AC-doozy twice back to back. So wound up winning a couple hundred instead of down a couple hundred. So quick hit and run. I'll be back again, but disappointed with the shoot to win without no dealer. Anyway, that's the live report. Not so live, tape recorded from Tampa, Florida. Peace out. Bye.
Okay, so again, Sonny just misspoke there when he said shoot to win. He was talking about the roll to win craps tables. And yeah, Mikey basically brought up what you did, is that he doesn't want to play on that. It's like, it's ridiculous. I don't think I'd have a problem with it because I would be fairly confident that they're on the up and up, but I could certainly understand people not thinking they're on the up and up or just not enjoying that kind of play. Right.
I assume it's a faster game than like shoot to win because that probably happens real quick, the roll, and then, there's a certain amount of time make your bets because that in shoot to win, they bounce a while. And the person who presses the button for the final bounce.
Yeah, maybe.
They can wait. They can let the machine do it. I don't know.
Who knows? I would think it'd be about the same, to be honest, as a shoot to win, I think, in the long run.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be faster. Yeah. Well, here's one reason why it would definitely be faster. Every once in a while on those shoot to win machines, one of the dice is kind of leaning. It doesn't land flat. And then it's got to shoot again. It says, no good roll, shooting again. And that certainly wouldn't happen on a virtual machine. So,
and there's no dealer to input anything. So there's probably not many mistakes.
Right. It would definitely be faster than a regular roll to win table because there's no dealer, no mistakes. Right.
So that would help. This just occurred to me recently. I'm standing next to the shoot to win machine at Harrah's. And, the voice, it's a female voice.
Right.
It's that very high voice. Come on, push the button.
Yes.
Come on, push the button. And if you don't push it, then she does it.
Yeah, after a certain amount of time, right.
After a certain amount of time, she just does it. You can let her do it. And I was sitting there thinking they should have her saying, come on, push the button. And then just after a while, just go, screw you. And she just does it herself.
Let's write to Ruse Gaming, and see if maybe they'll
add that in. Maybe they don't have to say screw you, but some snarky comment, and then she does it. Right. I think that would add more fun to the game.
This is ridiculous. I'm doing it myself.
Right. What's wrong with you, lame-o?
This is craps. It's supposed to be fast. Yeesh.
Yeah, I think snarky remarks. I don't know. It's just...
But anyway, one of the reasons that they've got this new roll-to-win virtual craps machine in Florida is kind of like Sonny and Scott were saying, they don't have real craps and roulette. So it has to be these machines. And they probably wouldn't be able to use the regular roll-to-win craps tables with the dealer for the same kind of reason, because they'd be rolling dice. So that probably would be against the law. Anyway, so that's what you've got in Florida, at least. If
that's the only game in town, if I lived in Tampa, that's the only game in town, I'd be playing it too.
Maybe. I'd probably go to the shoot to win, to be honest. If I had a choice between the roll to win virtual and the shoot to win, I'd probably stay on the shoot to win.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy that, all the noise in the shoot to win.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, there is a lot more noise. Yeah.
There's a lot more going on, something to keep your attention. You're not just sitting there waiting for these virtual dice to roll.
Yeah, although, again, Sonny did say they are beautiful tables, and they are. All the animation and everything and, things going on. But, yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. In addition to the PayPal donation we got from Michael James, we want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Brian Dancer, Brian and Sarah, and Josh. Thank you very much. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings, and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. Dr. Mike, the Super Bowl falls on your birthday this year.
Yes, it is my birthday. Every so often, the Super Bowl falls on my birthday, and that's always a nice treat.
All right, very
for me.
good.
For me, anyway.
For you. Now, your predictions on the playoffs didn't quite go that well. You were correct in that the Browns kept it close, but the Rams really were not in that game. So
no, I don't know what happened to the Rams. That was quite a big disappointment. Although, if I remember betting wise, I was 500 on that weekend, right?
You were 500, yes. So all we lost was the juice.
The juice, yeah. I kind of knew that Kansas City was going to beat Buffalo this last weekend, but my heart was with Buffalo, and unfortunately, they just kind of fell apart there. But they got off to a great start. It was 9-0.
That's true. Yeah, 9-0.
And I thought, okay, this is going well. And I kind of wanted to see the Packers make it to the Super Bowl. But I bet on Tampa Bay because, who bets against Tom Brady?
Yeah, really. No kidding.
I mean, seriously. Now, this Super Bowl, what do you think?
Well, I don't know, but I will say this. If Tom Brady wins this Super Bowl, leaves the Patriots, goes to a new team, and I understand it's a younger team, but if he were to win this Super Bowl, I mean, a lot of people think he's the greatest of all time anyway, but if he wins this one, that's cemented.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I kind of think he's been in 9 Super Bowls, Mark. And this is his 10th Super Bowl. What's he won 6? It's hard to say. People you say, "Oh, Tom Brady wouldn't be that good. Belichick's a genius."
Right. That's kind of my point.
No
yeah,
Belichick, and he's going there, and he still has that thing. This is a really tough game for me to handicap.
Okay,
because Kansas City's favored by 3. And Mahomes is great.
Yeah.
Without Mahomes, Kansas City's a mediocre team.
Yeah, I'll tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's all Mahomes. And for such a young guy, he's able to pull them together. And he may be the greatest of all time at the end of his career.
Yeah, all right.
But for right now, it's Tom Brady. And I cannot go against Tom Brady. I'd have to take Tampa Bay and the 3 points.
Okay. Well, you're just rooting for overtime, right? As usual?
As usual, my favorite thing is just overtime. I'd love to see. You know what I'd love to see in the
What's
Super
that,
Bowl?
Dr. Mike?
Double overtime.
That would be so good.
Oh my God. Can you imagine they play a whole nother quarter, nobody scores, and it goes into double
that would be
overtime? Now, these teams are prolific scoring teams, so the chances of that happening are nil.
Yeah.
But boy, I would love to see that. That would be, you'd be on the edge of your seat, just freaking out at every play.
Yep.
I just hope, and I know I might draw some criticism for this, I just hope the referees let them play. And there's not some stupid call at some point.
Well, you always kind of
game.
hope for that. I hope the players don't put the refs in a position where they have to make a call like that. How about that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but it's one of those things where they don't call much, and then all of a sudden, in the last 2 minutes, some guy grabs the jersey, which they haven't called the whole game, and all of a sudden they call it.
Yeah.
And it is a penalty. I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't a penalty, but you didn't call it earlier. Why are you calling it now?
Be consistent.
You've got to be consistent the whole game.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, it'll be fun, something for me to do on my birthday.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, since COVID is around and we're not going to do anything, we'll be sitting here watching the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, enjoy the game, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.